Happy to be joined by Vanessa Demopolous, who's going to be back in action September 7th, UFC Fight Night. It is right around the corner. Vanessa, how's it going?
It's going amazing. Yeah, just training hard and getting ready for this fight. That's literally less than 3 weeks away.
And you're at the PI. What have you been up to today at the PI?
So yeah, I live here, literally. Like I am here all day long, every single day. I spend about like 8 hours a day actually at the Performance Institute, which is such a dream come true for me. So this morning, for example, I had to come in early and weigh in because I only weigh myself like once a week. And we do like the diagnostics and stuff and see how we need to calibrate the diet. That way I can make weight accordingly. And so there's no excuses there. And then I have training here very shortly. So I got a little bit of a break in between, and then once I'm done training, it's lunchtime, and then after lunchtime, I get to like decompress for another hour, and then I have to train again. It's a good life. It's a good life.
Well, I love the fact that you guys can just go like eat whenever. Like, do you have to tell them ahead of time, or you just go to the cafeteria and like, I want this, and they'll give it to you?
Yeah, I mean, okay, that's the problem because you can literally go there and be like, okay, I just want this, this, and this, and they'll give it to you. But obviously, when you're cutting weight, like you kind of can't do that. So well, you shouldn't do that. You can do that, but you shouldn't do that, right? So
right.
Yeah, and I mean the cafe's only open like certain hours.
Okay.
It's from like 12 to 2. So yeah, it's not like we can eat all day long, but
no, for sure. But it's nice to have the healthy meals. It's just one less thing you have to think about, right? That you have like the healthy meals at the cafeteria. You don't have to, go make your own food or anything like that, especially if you're at, like, people don't think of this. Like when you're on the go or you're going to train, like you have to eat at some point. So you have to plan that on top of everything else, right? At least if you're at the PI, it's just downstairs and it's very convenient, I would imagine.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Being a Vegas native is like such a dream come true when it comes to having the Performance Institute on hand because they set up all my meals like accordingly with like the macros and stuff that I need. I literally just like grab and go. Yeah.
Yeah, you're on autopilot. It's great. Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. Speaking of awesome, you got this fight booked. When did you find out? Did you get like a full camp? When did you get notice about the opponent and everything else?
Oh, I've absolutely had a full camp. Yes. So I believe the opponent actually, Jaqueline, I think she already had somebody lined up. And then that opponent fell out. And I was like, put me in. Like, I'll take it. Like, let's go. So, yeah, but I've still had an ample amount of time to be able to get ready for this. So it feels really good.
And coming off a nice win over Emily Ducote in your last fight. I know, you always want to finish, but there was a good win. Just your overall thoughts on your performance in that one.
Yeah, that performance was freaking crazy. I walked into that fight with like not even able to move my arm. So I was like, hey, we'll see what happens here, Yeah. And I ended up hitting more significant strikes than I had in any other fight. That was a freaking war, man. Like Emily was ready to throw down. I was ready to throw down. And that's exactly what the fans got, was just like crazy mayhem of a fight. So I was really proud of that performance.
And it seemed like a good amount of time off in between fights too. Like not too soon, not too late. Like it seems like you're on a pretty good schedule this year.
I thought it was perfect personally. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. And you mentioned your opponent, Jaqueline, 9-fight veteran. Stylistically, how are you looking at this fight?
She's a jiu-jitsu girl, so world champion multiple time. That's cool. I love jiu-jitsu as well. So, I'm a jiu-jitsu commentator. I'm a broadcaster. I analyze jiu-jitsu. So, and then obviously, like, I'm a high-level black belt as well. I just haven't competed on the scene as heavily as she did. So, but also, like, the last time that I competed was for IBJJF Worlds, and I took bronze at brown belt, So, like, I'm right up there on that podium, too, on the world stages. And I'm excited to go out there. I have so many more tools in the belt. I have, so much better striking, better wrestling, and honestly, I think better grappling. And we get to find out on September 7th.
Is this the type of matchup that excites you because not only do you get to display that, but you can be like, I got better jiu-jitsu than you potentially in this fight?
Yeah, I mean, it feels comfortable knowing that I'm a full-bred martial artist. Like, I'm a freaking MMA fighter. Like, this is not a jiu-jitsu match, right? Yeah. But I mean, when it comes to that, like, girl, I got the tools. Like, I can do this thing. But also, we're fighting MMA, right? So it's super different.
So you talked about being at the PI, like, long time and all that. And you kind of have told me this before, but it's kind of like a custom training camp for you. So what is that looking like as far as coaches and training partners? What is this camp looking like going into this fight?
So my coaches are all the same this camp. I have Dennis Davis, Mateus, Nakash, and Jiva Santana, which I love them so very, very much. And we work together for a few camps now. They know me so well, how everything's operate. But the difference is now we got like this super dope girl squad, man.
Oh, cool.
Like, yeah, it's freaking awesome. Like, you got Jessica Andrade, who's also in camp with her training partner, Japa. And then I got like, Jessica Del Boni, who is just like right on the cusp of becoming a UFC fighter herself. And like we just have like a lot of other girls that are here. Like we got Piera Rodriguez who's here as well. Like, and Pauliana Viana, like it's just such like an awesome core girl like group of girls that I'm so blessed to be able to work with every single day. And like we're all the same size, and yeah, we just beat the shit out of each other every day. It's awesome.
Have you really had that before? I feel like a lot of times you end up training with guys, or it's maybe not the ideal situation, but it sounds like you said there, the girl squad, it's all fighters in your weight class.
Yeah, I haven't really had to this degree before.
Yeah.
I feel like earlier in the LFA days, I used to train with like Tabitha Reese and Piera a lot. And then when Piera moved here to Vegas, like obviously we started training together a lot for my last camp against Emily Ducati, and that was perfect. And then now I feel like all of the girls have just kind of like come together, and it's been really, really awesome.
Your corner going to be the same for this fight? Who's going to be in the cage with you?
Yes, Dennis Davis, Mateus Nakash, and Jiva Santana are going to be there with me.
How's this one playing out on September 7th? I know you feel like you're going to win, but how do you envision it unfolding?
Yeah, I mean, I know exactly what's going to happen, right? So, but I can't tell you guys. But to me, I just know that I'm a more well-rounded martial artist, and I have so many more tools. I have so many more skills. I'm faster, I'm stronger, and I'm fucking better. So, and it's crazy. Again, the matchmakers got me as another plus 300. So know where your money's at. Go fight. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm ready for it, right? Like I'm ready for the heat. I'm ready to get on a microphone and tell everybody, fuck your parlays. I don't give a shit. Like you bet on the wrong one. Because they do this shit to me every single time. And then I catch all this heat after I win a fight. I'm like, oh, blah, blah, blah. You fucked up my parlay. Like, sorry, bro. I don't care. Like,
Had you not, I'm curious about that, because like, have you always paid attention to the lines, or has it been since like gambling? Because obviously gambling's a lot bigger now because it's legalized more, there's more books and all this stuff. Was that something you didn't really pay attention to before, but now because you get these idiot fans who are like, you ruined my parlay, has that made you look at the odds more now? Because you like, I didn't even know what the odds were going into this fight.
I mean, yeah, I've always looked at the odds. Yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah.
I always look at them. I never give a fuck about them though. Right.
Right.
Like I'm almost, I would say like 90% of the time I'm a huge underdog. Right. Almost every single fight, I'm such a huge underdog. Like it doesn't make sense to me, but listen, I don't know what the odds makers are seeing over there. That is what it is, right?
Well, I'm just curious if you know how this works, because a lot of people get confused by this. So the bookies set the line, and then people will bet on it, and that will change the line, right? Because a lot of people think like the odds makers are the ones that are shifting lines, but it's not. They just set the lines, and they do it to a certain way too, because the odds makers have to make money, so they have to figure out where people are going to be betting. So there's a bit of weird stuff with that too. Like it might not be exactly what they think, but they basically have to predict what the public's going to do, so the house can make money. But it is people betting on the fight, because that's how there's a great site. I don't know if you're aware of it. It's called bestfightodds.com. Like if you want to go look right now, you can see all the odds for every single one of your fights. Did you know this?
Oh no.
Yeah, bestfightodds.com. Go to it after this interview and you can see the history. And the cool thing about it is it shows you the opening line and it shows you the closing line. So it shows you, like, let's say you might have opened at like plus 300, but let's say there's a lot of, Demopoulos fans that want to bet on you, like the line might come lower and then you'd know that, right? So I don't know if you're aware of that.
Oh, I'm not aware of that.
There you go. See, we're not just talking fighting. We got some other cool info to drop here. So yeah, I love that site. I'm on that site all the time because I'm always fascinated with like books and stuff, and seeing where the odds are going.
All the time, you're fascinated with the books. You should have known what a huge underdog I am, bro.
Well, no, but I because this card's not coming up for a bit. Usually it's the week of the fight. I'll kind of look at the odds and stuff, to be fair. So just want to clarify that. It's all good. Before we go on with this interview, got to give a quick shout out to HK USA. Use the code BANANAS20 for 20% off. They're doing great fight gear and all that stuff. So anyone out there watching, make sure you check that out. Speaking of odds, Valentina Shevchenko, Alexa Grasso. I know this isn't your weight class, but it's the weight class above. It's the next women's title fight that's coming up. Just curious your thoughts on that fight, how that will play out. Obviously, both were in Vegas filming The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, I think that Alexa Grasso takes the W on this one. I think Valentina Shevchenko is now chasing something that she already had. And like, she's like steps behind, right? Where Alexa Grasso has been like kind of growing with all of this like heat and momentum. And yeah, I feel like just the energy, like, because they're both just so evenly freaking matched. Obviously, their last fight came out in a draw, right? Where Alexa Grasso was like, I won, but you didn't win. It was just a draw and you didn't lose your belt, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. I feel like Valentina really does want her belt back, but I feel like Alexa's just like a few inches ahead with the spirit and with the confidence on this one.
What do you make of this as well? And listen, I'm a big fan of Valentina. She's, obviously a great fighter. She's going to go down as one of the best women's fighters of all time. But one of the things that I found interesting especially after the first fight, maybe not so much after the second one, I haven't really heard any interviews she's done, but there was a bit of denial about the first fight in the sense that, like, I feel like she wasn't necessarily giving Alexa credit for, like, she almost made it out like Alexa got the submission win in the first fight and it was almost like a fluke. I don't know if you saw any of her interviews, but that was something where I'm like, that's not really how the fight went. It was pretty competitive actually leading up to that.
Yeah, it was super competitive leading up to that. But you can't just say that it was a fluke because Alexa, like, there's videos of Alexa working that over and over and over again. The spin and then taking the back, the spin and taking the back. So it's like Alexa fucking earned that, right? Like 100%, she earned that. And to take that away from her, like, and that's another thing too. That's why I think Alexa's going to win, right? Because I feel like Valentina in her mind is like not really addressing the things that are true. Like, she's not addressing the facts. So it's like, how can you grow from that, right? Like, how can you grow if you're like lying to yourself about the facts that had happened? And like, you can't lie to yourself. Like, that's the thing about fighting, dude. Like, it's so honest. It's so primal. Like, you can't take the shortcuts because they show up in the fight. Like, you can't do anything that's half-assed because the fighting is just honest. Like, you're gonna find out the truth. Like, did you do the work or not? And spiritually, like, how were you feeling throughout things? Did you lie to yourself along the way? And I think Valentina's mindset is what's gotten her here, but it's also what, like, lying to yourself and those types of aspects will keep you stagnant, right? Like, there's no growth if you don't understand what you did wrong, which is creating patterns that somebody else can capitalize on, which is what Alexa did. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that's also why fans have maybe not been the biggest fan of Valentina, just because of the way Connor's like this too, a little bit, to a certain degree, where he'll say things and it's like, it's not really what happened in the fight. Like, remember he said he had a broken foot against Habib and all. I don't know. So I just feel like you're exactly right. Like, we can all see what's going on. A lot of people can see what's going on. You can see what's going on. It's like fighting is, it's about as honest as it gets out there. So yeah, I was just curious on that. Speaking of, title fights, did you happen to watch the title fight last week between Dricus du Plessis and Israel Adesanya? I did.
What did you think? That was pretty incredible. Speaking of underdogs, I don't know if you knew Dricus was an underdog in that fight.
Oh, really? By how much?
Slightly. I think it was like a plus 110 or something. It wasn't that bad, but yeah,
basically even then. So going into the fight, I kept saying this. I was like, Dricus is messy, right? But I feel like he's gonna win. And that's exactly what happened. Like, he's not pretty of a fighter, right? Like, Israel Adesanya is like super precise and everything looks so beautiful when he's striking. And the scorecards, did you see the scorecards afterwards?
I did.
Because it said that Dricus actually was winning the fight. And me watching the fight, I actually thought that Dricus was losing up until he choked Izzy. So I, like, you never know what the judges are looking at versus what we're looking at. But yeah, either way, like, before the fight happened, I said that Dricus was going to win. And I was really happy to see it. And he's just fucking awesome, man. Like, he has this style that is so, like, unorthodox and kind of weird. And it's kind of crazy, but it works for him. And he's just such a dog. And he just fights. And it's so cool to see.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it was interesting. And just going back to the scorecards, like, I've seen a lot of people say this. I think that first round is where people kind of go the other way, because I'm assuming you scored the first round for Adesanya. I remember watching it being like, it was close. Maybe you could have given that to Dricus, because I think we can all agree round 2 is Dricus's because he got the takedown, right? He almost, that was the first time he tried to submit him. Third round was clearly Izzy's. And then fourth round, it was iffy, but you could see that Adesanya was having success on the feet. Like, I'm watching this and going, Izzy's going to win a decision. And then out of nowhere, he gets another takedown, gets a submission. And again, this is why MMA is so great, because anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. And you know what? MMA math doesn't math.
No,
You know,
it doesn't.
at
No.
the end of the day, it's what happens on that day. Like, you just got to go out there and do the damn thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
That wasn't the only thing that happened last weekend. Did you see the Craig Jones and Gabby Garcia jiu-jitsu match? What did you think of that?
I did. You know what? Craig's a pimp. It was awesome. I loved everything that he did with CJI. That man changed the game for jiu-jitsu. Like, history was made on that night. And the actual match between Craig and Gabby, you know, I mean, they were just having fun. Honestly, like, I feel like Gabby was really fighting, and I feel like Craig was just trying to like prolong the match a little bit. I heard that he put like $100,000 on himself to finish by leg lock. And then I think he tried to leg lock Gabby, and he saw like, dude, she's not going to tap, and I'm going to have to break her leg. And he very politely did not snap her leg in front of the millions of fans that were watching, and decided to go for a choke instead and submit her. So I thought that was kind of nice of him, considering like what he was able to do. And yeah, I think it was, you know, it was just a match for the people.
Would you ever grapple another guy like in a competition? Like if there was a weight, it would have to be a weight difference, right? So maybe if you found some like really smoke out.
I did grapple another guy in a competition and went viral for it.
Did you? When was this? I'm gonna miss this.
It's okay. This was actually in Eddie Bravo's gym for the EBI qualifiers. He needed a filler match, and I literally walked into the gym wearing high heels and makeup, and I was just like watching jiu-jitsu, and he was like, yo, we need somebody to do a match. And I was like, I'll fucking do it. And he's like, oh shit. And one of the other guys that had already been disqualified was like, I'll fight her. So I literally run to my car wearing high heels, like, and I had to like run around the block because this is in California, and fucking throw my gear on, go out there, do the damn thing. And it was more like fun for me. Like I was like, you know, doing splits and like having fun with it and doing my stripper guard. Yeah. And a dude ended up catching me after like 8-9 minutes or some shit. And he was fucking fighting, right? And I mean, I was fighting too, but to me, it was more satire. You know, I was just having fun with it. Yeah.
I gotta look that up.
I literally went viral for that match.
Okay, maybe I don't know why. Maybe I didn't see it. I'm getting old, Vanessa. I guess I'm not catching up on everything.
It's okay. So it's like the whole like Gabby versus Craig being the first co-ed. I'm like,
wait a second.
First,
like, exactly. Yeah, you're the pioneer.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Before we get out of here, 2 quick questions. Your contract, I believe you signed a new contract a couple fights ago. You got a few left on that, or what's the latest with your UFC contract?
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that.
Okay, no, well, I assume you have a contract because obviously you're fighting coming up here on the 7th. Yeah. So yeah, but things are looking good, I guess. Because I mean, I know the UFC really likes you. Like they seem to book you a lot. You're getting good opportunities. Like I imagine, like it's not like you're in a bad situation. Like we've had some contracts lately, right? So
yeah. No, I'm a happy camper. I love my contract. I love.
Okay, we'll keep it at that. Yeah.
House. I love Mick. Thank you guys so much. I'm so grateful. I fucking love you guys, and let's stay busy.
Any traveling on the horizon? I know that's something you like doing, especially in the summer. I don't know if you got up to any traveling between the last fight and this one, but anything on the horizon? I know you like going back to Greece.
Yeah, my family was actually just in Greece. So they were planning that trip for months. And I literally told them, like, I knew when I stepped out of the cage, like, my brain was like, man, I really want to fight in September, right? And I just bought a new house. And I told my family, like, guys, I really kind of just want to stay put this year and just keep fighting. And I did. And thankfully, again, like, this fight wasn't booked for me. This fight was booked for Jaqueline. And her opponent backed out. And I got to just slide right on in there because my brain already wanted to fight around this date, right? Literally, like, oh, God is so good. And yeah, so that's the way that this fight unfolded for me. But my family was already in Greece this year. They already went. I didn't get any train vacations this year. So I think after this fight, I might hop over to Hawaii. Or I might hop over to New Zealand. Like, I'm going to go somewhere as soon as I'm done fighting. I just don't know where yet.
Love it. That's good. Always have to stuff planned ahead. I'm the same way. Like I like booking stuff. Like I have a New Year's Eve trip booked already, and I booked it like a couple months ago, and that way it's like something to look forward to.
No way.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to. Well, it's New Year's Eve's my birthday, so I'm looking like I purposely am like gonna have like not be here in Canada for my birthday. It's gonna be great. So I'm looking forward to it. So,
Happy birthday, man.
Well, thank you. Well, it's a ways away. It's
like
New Year's Eve,
5
so
years away, bro.
yeah.
I feel like I'm going to talk to you again before your birthday. So
Yeah, no. I'm sure we will. So I'm sure we will. It's all good. Vanessa, thanks for doing this again. I know you're busy, so I really appreciate it. If there's anyone you'd like to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, as always, I'll give you the last word.
Listen, guys, come hang out with me on Instagram, Lil Monster Demo. That's it, man. Love you guys.
Cool. All right.